good morning, and welcome. Welcome to your August. It's a new month, a new beginning, and it's time to make some new goals. Yes. I don't know if you make monthly goals, quarterly goals, yearly goals, but you can make goals any time of the year you want. Excuse me. So I'm trying to get back on track. I took a week, well, I took 10 days off from writing. I mean, a whole 10 days after we completed July Camp NaNo. And first of all, I want to welcome you to our new beginning. Let me send a message. I am just trying to get back into the swing of things, but I'm glad you're here. And if you don't catch me live, hopefully you'll catch me on a replay to get you motivated to get started for the month of August, even though we 10 days into the month. So, what have I been doing this past week? Nothing. Nothing. Not a dang old thing. Well, I have been reading a little bit, not much. I was reading two books. I was reading an anthology of cozy mysteries. Don't ask me the name. My memory is not good right now, but I will tell you about that later. And I'm reading a book called Sweet Potato Jones by Jen Lowry. Oh my gosh. It is really good. It's a young adult fiction book, but it's about this homeless girl, living life. And it's showing me a different world because I think I've been sheltered all my life and I sheltered my children. So you don't extend outside your little comfort zone, you will miss out on the whole world. Even though I wish I could with the coronavirus, but I'm loving the book. I had to reread the first two chapters because my mind wasn't there initially. And now that July Camp NaNo is over with, I can focus and I love it. And I'll share more on that with you later too, because I'm going to do a book review on it. And also, I'm going to interview the author who is my writing coach. Oh my God, you're going to love her. I love her so much. You talking about positivity. She's I can't even get the word out. She smiles it out every day. Just her presence is full of positivity and love and glory and everything. I can't keep bragging about her because she is amazing. And I'm serious. And I'm not being paid to say this. But it was something about her personality when I looked at her Patreon page. That video drew me instantly, and I felt like my life changed. Not just for writing, but just being a better person, a better Christian. But she's amazing. Anyway, I'm going to interview her I think August the 18th, live on YouTube. Yes, and I may live stream it on Facebook and Twitch as well. I hadn't decided. I'm just now getting back into a routine. And I'm not going to kid you, being a writer and when you take those little breaks, the hardest thing to me is getting back into that routine. That's why I really wouldn't recommend you to change up on your writing routine. Even if you write just a little bit each day or maybe a paragraph, something I should have done, but I was tired. So I'm not going to beat myself. I was exhausted and I needed a break. And I took my break. And plus, my hubby was home and I got to enjoy his company without waking him up about 3 o'clock in the morning, setting up things for my live stream. But I'm so glad to be back here. This month will be a little different than July. Um, we may have some time writing. Not today. I don't want to be timed today. I'm just getting back into the groove of things. But I do want to share some of my goals, some of my ideas, and some exciting things that's happening in my writing life this month and next month. So, yeah, I have my planner out. I was going to toss this thing away because last week I didn't really plan anything. And I guess it's okay because I was taking my break. It's like I planned the first 3 days of the week and then I drop off, but I need to continue with this. So let me put this coffee down. I went to Carol Brown celebration on YouTube. This past, I think it was not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, she was celebrating her birthday. And I just love her. She's amazing. So I asked a question for the panel about how do, as a new writer and a new YouTuber or author too, how do you manage your time and find balance between the two? And I guess you can look at it as any other thing that you do in your life. How do you find balance between your writing, your family, your own personal self care, and your streams and any other things that you're doing? How do you find balance? And the first thing she pulled out was her bullet journal. Her journal, whether it was bullet or not, I'm not sure, but it was a journal. And I realized you must write things down. And what I'm going to learn today is how to block off my time and manage the time, because I have 24 hours and I can sit here at my desk all day long and still not be as productive as I want to, or I stay focused on one task and the other tasks get neglected. So I decided, okay, well, since majority of her panel use a journal, I decided to keep my journal or your planner, whatever word you want to use. Mine is a journal and a planner. And I got this. It's called Clear Habit Journal. It's pretty nice. It has your dotted grid inside, but in the beginning, you have a one line per day. I don't know if you can see this. It's probably not clear enough, but I'll probably do a video on it and show you how I plan my day. I want to spend a good month actually using it to make it utilize it for my writing life. But you highlight your days, your highlights of the days, or as a one line journal at the beginning, or you can use it as a gratitude. My favorite part, though, is just the dot grid where I plan my day and plan my week. And I have this week planned. Oh, hold on. It's, let me see. I did good the first week because I started the 1st of July. Well, no, actually, I started this journal July the 26th through the 31st. So I did really well that week. But I didn't do well the week after NaNo because I did nothing. So let's see. I think the first 3 days or the first 2 days I did good, which was, no, actually, I did better than I thought I did. So the week of August, the 31st of July through August the 8th, I did okay. Thursday and Friday, I didn't plan anything, but a lot of my tasks I migrated to this week. So I set up this week, which I started real good on Sunday, and I'm proud of myself. And today is what? Tuesday. So yeah, they encouraged me to plan my day, to schedule my day. And what I'm lacking is time management. So I have all the tasks that I need to do for the week. I'm not sure if you can see this on camera, but I have all my tasks. I have it divided into urgent, not urgent, important, and not so important. And then I have my daily over here. I try to put no more than 3 tasks a day for my weekly. And then over here, I have just a list of my tasks that I migrate and put it over here and divide it within the days. So that's how I'm doing that. But I want to start today blocking my time because I don't want to spend 5 hours maybe just writing or 4 hours of reading. And I need to be more concise with my time. Time is very important. And I don't like time. I hate time. I hate even wearing a watch. I'm not going to kid you because I feel, excuse me, I feel restricted. It's almost like someone's suffocating me and choking me because I'm restricted to a time and I hate time. But as a writer, there's deadlines. And that's the reality of it. So I'm gonna have to get used to putting myself on a schedule, and when our plan goes, have some set dates and tentative dates for when I want things to be done, books to be released, all that other good stuff. Otherwise, I'm gonna always be stuck in the zone, just piddling my day away. So anyway, I decided to keep my journal and make it work for me. And I had to look back, and it is working for me. And it's okay if I miss a day, long as I plan, you know. So, like I said, today I'm going to work with the time management, which is very, very, very important to me. So, what else is going on? So I finished my first draft, and I was corrected by calling it my first draft. I still want to consider it my first draft, but if I'm going to be honest with you, it's really my second draft that I wrote in July Camp NaNo. And the reason why I have an issue, because when I wrote my first draft in November of last year with NaNoWriMo, and I went back to it in January, I hated it. I hate it, I hate it so bad. I did. I just wanted to say, forget this, toss it aside. It was awful. Is what you call that first, first. You know what I'm saying? It was horrible. It was a pile of dump. It was horrible. But looking back, I had a character in there that was my main character, and she migrated into this story. Um, the theme was basically the same, which is migrated into this draft. Uh, the murderer, not the murderer, because I didn't know who the murderer was, but the victim and her daughter migrated into this draft. Um, all the other characters in there are gone. These characters are new. So I hate the first draft, but you got to get those thoughts out of your head. And it was a very unorganized first draft. I have problems with that. I have problems calling that my first draft because I just wrote. I wrote by the seat of my pants. I had an idea in my head. That was it. I didn't write down the premise. I didn't do no character outlines or anything. I just knew who my main character was and the theme, the premise of my story. And I hate it. At the time, I liked it. I really did until I went back. I didn't get any kind of, I didn't have a connection with that story, is the word. I didn't feel the warmth that I wanted to feel. I didn't feel its welcome and inviting. It felt cold and sterile. So I hated it. And I didn't want to call it a first draft, but it was a first draft because when this month, this past month, July Camp NaNoWriMo, I thought, okay, well, I know my main character. I know the premise of the story. I changed the location. Aunt Ivy is new. Sheriff Raymond is new. Detective Styles, actually, he come from that very first draft that I wrote. And Shepard Malone come from that first draft. So technically, this is my second draft. And I don't want to give it the title of my second draft. I wanted to give it the title of my first draft because it was beautiful. I love this story. I love it. But maybe this is the emotions and the feelings a writer goes through when they write their first draft, where they can't stand it, to the second draft, where it begins to take shape. So, yeah. Much as I hated that first draft, I have to give it its credit. That was the first draft. What I wrote this past July is actually my second draft. And I love it. I do. But I don't want to go through that again. I'm serious. I do not want to go through that again. So I think by taking the things that I learned during this writing process, going into November for NaNoWriMo, I will have an outline. I won't just write by the seat of my pants. I will have a plan, in which I didn't have the first time around. And I think, excuse me, and that I think that's what's important, to develop something that works for you as a writer. And I did. I always wanted to be a pantser, pantser, and I still am. I embrace that because there was some parts in this story I pants, but it fit and it came together. But I'm also a planner. I have to plan. I need a map, not something that's not flexible, because my writing was very flexible. Things happened in this story that I didn't expect. I had some aha moments and some epiphanies and a lot of what surprises, and I'm still conflicted with the murderer because I didn't plan that person to be the murderer. I don't want that person to be the murderer, but that person is the murderer. And I'm like, shock. So if I'm feeling shock, maybe my readers should feel the same way when they read shock. Or maybe they will pick up on something I missed out on and realize, I knew that person did it. So that was just the second draft, and it was wonderful. So my story took shape. The characters found their place. So do you call it a third draft now, or a revision, rewrite, or what? All these different technical terms, I have no idea. So I will probably do some research and just investigate what other people call the third draft or the third rewrite or the whatever they call it. So yeah. And if I like this one, I'm still not ready to share it with anyone. Imagine what the rewrite is going to be like. So yeah, this is a journey to from nowhere to somewhere, going up that mountain. And I'm like, okay, embrace it. Embrace this is your second draft. So that's what I'm doing. I have just completed my second draft in July, Camp NaNo. Yay. I need an applause. Where is my sounds? I don't even have my set or anything. Yes. Acceptance. I have a problem with that. Acceptance. So it's my second draft. So I'm going into, I don't know, the rewrite, because the story structure is there. I just need to make sure everything is what, connected or flow or add more details or whatever. So, yeah, I'm moving on to that phase, but I'm not starting that right now. I'm still taking a 3 weeks writing break from that project, which means I have 2 more weeks. I took 1 week off. I have 2 more weeks. But in the meantime, what I am doing is I'm getting to know my characters more, because who I thought Aunt Ivy was, oh my gosh, she's still lovable. But I'm all these little secrets about her. You sort of want this ideal auntie. I think in the real world, we can get so what? What's the word? I don't know. It's like being with a celebrity. You get so starstruck on a celebrity, maybe one in particular. For me, who will I be starstruck on? I don't know. Maybe Beyonce and Jay Z, or Queen Latifah, or um, I don't know who I will be starstruck on. I really don't. Well, maybe Jill Scott. I really like Jill Scott, but honestly, I think Jill Scott is just an ordinary person, and I see her more like me, so I'm good with her. But you sort of understand what I'm saying. You get starstruck, and you don't see the faults and the flaws of that person, and that's how I wanted Aunt Ivy to be. In my mind, I didn't see her faults and her flaws. She was this perfect aunt to babe. They just loved her to death. She could do no wrong. But as I wrote the story, it didn't happen like that. That's what was in my mind. In babe mind, she knew who her auntie was. She knew those faults and flaws, and she was just like, whoa. when more start to surfacing. Uh, she carried this facade like she was all this, just Miss Holier than thou. But Aunt Ivy is just as human and full of faults and flaws as the next person. So that was an eye awakening for me. Um, her dad, um, Raymond Vaughn, he's the sheriff. I fell in love with him. I went and I looked for a picture to depict my characters, and that's something I'm working on, I guess, in this 3 week period instead of writing. And I'm focusing on my characters, and I'm creating a Pinterest board, and I'll share that with y'all too in a video on how to set up a board of your characters in your city. Is called Deck of Secrets is my title, and it's a working title, but it fits at the moment. But I have my characters in there. I'm looking for my main characters and then my secondary characters, and then bits and pieces of Texas small town that represents my town, Peyton County. So I found, what's his name? Keith David. I think that's his name. He plays on Greenleaf. Now I found a picture of him. He looked like a little country boy with his little top hat and his glasses, and he fit Sheriff Buns perfectly. So I have his pictures in my Pinterest board, and then I can write my character file on him, or what they call it, create a character Bible. Well, that's what I'm planning on to do to get to know their story, each character's story, each of my primary character story, because every character have a backstory, but this is my main character story. And somehow each of these characters must be interconnected to her in some kind of way. So I found him, and then I found a picture of her cousin, Olive James. Oh, it's her favorite cousin. And while I was writing my story, I was getting conflicted between should he be her half brother or her cousin? Because I kept saying her brother in my story, her brother. So when I go back to rewrite, I'm hoping that I can be firm on who he really is. And right now he's her cousin, and I got to keep that out of my mind. He's not a brother, but they so close. They like siblings and they grew up together, but so I have to keep him as her cousin. That's Aunt Ivy's son. Aunt Ivy was married. Her husband died. What he died of, I don't know. But when I work on her character file, I will know how he died and why he died and who she became after he died while raising this son alone. So yeah, Olive James, I found a picture of him. He's just a model that I found that represent who he is. And the main characteristic of Olive James is he got dreads. He wears dreads. He had these reddish colored dreads and freckles in his face. And Ivy is very old school. She do not believe boys, men should have long hair or have plaits, is what she call them, on their head. So she don't like his dress, but Olive refused to shave his head, and you know he's gonna do his own thing. He's a rebel, but he's a good one. And the reason why he wears these dresses is because he don't like his ears. He got these big old giant ears. Actually, he had one big ear and one small ear. So these little quirks that makes your character come alive. So he's comical. I thought about making him a firefighter, but now he does not have a physique of a firefighter in my opinion. So he trying to find his way in Payton County. The generation, what generation they are? The millennials. The millennials of Payton County are trying to find their place in the world. And, they went out into the big world and see what it was like. Some stayed behind. Bay was one of the ones that left Payton County, moved to the big metropolitan city, got caught up in a lot of crap and realized, oh, I need a break. I need to go back home. Well, her cousin Olive James stayed behind. So he always wanted to own a coffee shop. So he has a coffee shop. And that's going to come out in book 2. And it's going to be called at least for right now, Coffee Cozy Cafe, because not only is it a coffee shop, he wanted to integrate some music and some books, and it's like a lounge for young people to go and relax in. But the old people like it too because there's something about his coffee is different from everyone else's coffee. And that's a secret he kept to himself. Well, eventually he shared it with Bay. And that's going to be a part of the second call. I mean, second coffee, but the second book. I think I got to read up on it more so, but he infused it with is it CBC oil? Yeah. So, the older people like that stuff. They don't really realize what they drinking, but they like how it make them feel. And I know in my community here, we have these little shops that are popped up everywhere. And I'm not kidding you. When you pass by or go inside just to be nosy, I do, just to get that feel. I hadn't had any, but I wanted to see what it was like because I wanted to add it in my story. And all I see is senior citizen in there. I do, probably because they realize they retired and they have arthritis or they have bones and aching joints and pain like that. And I know my mom is one of them too. So, yeah. So that's going to be a part of book two. And so in book one, the one I've written, is where he is just building it. Is being built. He come up with a name. It ends where it's built. It comes up with a name and all this other good stuff. So it leads into book two. So he finds his place. Bay still hadn't figured out what it is she wants to do in life. And who else is in my book? Shepard Malone. I like that name. He was supposedly in the first draft the main sheriff detective, but he came into the story somewhere late in the story or in the middle part of the story, and his role is not as major right now, but eventually as this series grow, his role becomes really major, and it's going to be a love triangle. I don't know if I'm exposing too much information right now or not, but it's going to eventually be a love triangle between Bay, Shepard Malone, and Detective Styles. Right now, he's a deputy. So I had to learn the difference between the sheriff, detective, and a deputy. So it's going to be between our two. And she grew up with Styles. Styles was this geeky kid she could not stand back in high school or whatever, but he grew up to be a beautiful man. So, yeah. So that's those three characters are there. And then there's St. Ivy, there's Olive James, and Rhonda is new. I have no idea where she come from, but she just came to me in this story. Her name and everything. I didn't even have time to really think of a name for her. But when I think about her more and when I was writing about her, I had this image of her in my mind. And she reminded me of this girl I went to school with when I was what grade? I don't know what grade I was in. Actually, I didn't go to school with her. I worked with her. I think I don't remember too much. Well, anyway, her name was Audrey, and that image of her came up in my mind when I was writing Rhonda. So Rhonda may have a mixture of her and this other image I have in my mind, but she is determined she's going to be Bay's best friend. So she's new, and who else is new? Uh, Yvonne or Vani. I'm having troubles with the names. I had a Yanni. I thought about that, but it's too close to Getty. Getty is her mom. Getty is the victim of my story. Getty was there in the first draft. She stayed in the second draft. Her role remains the same. She is the local psychic, and she knows everyone's secrets. That's why I call it Deck of Secrets. Yeah. So she's a tarot card reader, all that good stuff. And in this, I am learning about tarot cards. I am learning to read tarot cards. A friend of mine's become a mentor in helping me to understand the tarot cards. And she sent me, let's see if I have them anywhere so I can show you. Ah, she sent me this. This is beautiful. I love it. It's really nice. This is where I keep my tarot cards. She also sent me a cloth that she keep my cards wrapped in, and she is teaching me virtually how to read tarot cards. So I'm actually getting into the role of my characters. Yeah. By understanding and knowing what they do. So, anyway, not too many people know I have these tarot cards because my family is like Aunt Ivy. At least I know my mother. If she had any idea, the first thing she would say, "Oh, you got Satan in your house." Okay, come on, mom. But anyway, my husband already say I got some voodoo in me since most of my family for Louisiana. He has a thing about Louisiana people. So, but yet he's married to one. So yeah, that's what I'm learning. And at first, I wanted Bay to know these cards, and I figured, I don't know them. So let my characters know them. She was given a deck of cards when she was probably 16 years old by Getty. And those cards are the secret and the connection to everyone in that town. But she don't know that. So anyway, that's that with Getty. Getty stays. Her daughter officially, her name was Yvonne, but they call her Vani for short. And and during the second draft, some reason I kept writing Yanni. It was just that Yanni was shorter to write than Vani and Yvonne. So I'm having conflicts with the name, but Yvonne stays the same. Yet I got to work on that when shaping it even more. So she is suspected in killing her mom, and she's also the estranged best friend of Bay. You know, they was best friends from childhood on up through high school until Bay just took off and left, and that was it. No connection or nothing. Bay cut her ties almost with the whole town for 10 years of her life, but she kept in touch with her dad and her auntie and her cousin, and that was it. Now she's back. So she stays. Who else is new? Mr. Bud the Wiser. It's not Bud D Wiser, it's Bud the Wiser. That DA, that ethnic thing to it. He's Bay's cat. Oh my gosh. I want a cat like that so bad. He's new because in the first draft that wasn't a pet. Well, it was. That was Libby. And I named Libby the cat. It was a black stray cat that became friends with Bay. And it was named after one of my friends, my real close friend. But, Libby changed. She changed morphing into something really amazing. This wizardly looking cat. He's called a werewolf cat because he carries this he has a genetic congenital defect. What is it? I think I forgot the name again, but I looked it up. I did some research, and there are so many cats out there like that. And this one particular cat called Hashu, he has his own website. He has his own Facebook. I had no idea, all over, the media. So I started following him. I said, that's my cat. Because I was using his pictures from Pinterest. So he had this congenital disease where it makes his hair grow wild, and it grows as thick as a dog's hair. And he either looked like an owl, he looked like a werewolf, he looks like all kinds of weird things, even Albert Einstein. So anyway, he's new. He morphins from this regular black stray cat to this wizardly looking cat. And I love him. So I've been reading a lot of cozies with cats in it just to get an idea how the cats interact with the characters in the book. So he's new and I love him. He's my real pet. He's my imaginary pet. And I am looking for a site that can actually make me a cat like him. And a friend of mine sent me several links. So I'm going to check those out. And he will be my writing token, hopefully for November. So what else is new in this story? The place is new, Peyton County, Texas. At first, in the first draft, that was Galveston, Texas. But to me, I love Galveston. It's a nice little place. It's always been me and my husband escape from the city to the island. You know, certain times of the year. I love Galveston, but what is so open to me, it's not closed environment. Even though it's an island, is open. There's the big Gulf of Mexico right there, you know. It didn't have all those little quaint feelings of a small town that I like. I love trees. I like a lot of grass and nature, you know. So it wasn't the same city, the vibe that I wanted in my story. So from draft one to draft two, I created a city based on a real city that existed. Well, it's still there, but it's considered a ghost town now. And it's called Peyton Colony, Texas. It was established by a freed slave named Peyton Roberts. And so my story is taking on the town, a little historical fact. The original descendants, okay, the people in Peyton County, my make believe Peyton County, Texas, are from the original descendants of Peyton Colony, Texas. They just migrated farther south. Yeah, yeah, farther south and created this town. So Aunt Ivy is the historian of Peyton County. No, Peyton, Texas. No, Peyton County, Texas. That's my fictional place. Peyton Colony, Texas is the real place. And I think there's 30 descendants, relatives of the original descendants that still live there. They still have the original schoolhouse, which consists of the town and recreational center. And it's considered a ghost town. So hopefully one day, I don't know when, but one day soon, the girls and I are going to take us a road trip to Peyton Colony, Texas. And I want to take a bunch of pictures and just get a vibe, a historical feeling of what life was back in the early 1900s, if I'm not mistaken, or the late 1900s. I can't remember. But anyway, Peyton County, Texas took on its own life with that historical connection. Let's see. In Peyton too, names mean so much. And I was taught if you're going to name a character, name a book or whatever, let it honor something. I don't think it will work for every story, every genre. But in this book, this first cozy mystery, I wanted to honor who I am as an African American writer living in a very diverse world, you know, um, in a culture that represent, I guess, where I live at today because Houston is very diverse. It's a melting pot of diversity. So Peyton County is a small version of that diversity with a lot of historical value and facts. Also, it honors my children's name, family name. You know, this is the first book, but I don't want it. It's not. Well, it is personal because I'm writing. I think everything we write is personal, and I'm yapping today. But anyway, Peyton County is named after the historical place, Peyton Colony. Plus, my daughter name is Peyton, and it was spelled the same. So I was like, oh, righty. So yeah, it's named after my baby girl, Peyton. There's going to be a little character in there, maybe not in this book, but you know, in your town, you have families, you have children, and I will include my other two daughters' name in there, Madison or Maddie. They call her little Maddie, and Courtney. Even though they're much older than my baby girl, they may be little bitty girls in here belonging to somebody. Um, Vons is my maiden name, Bay Vons, you know, and I thought, okay, that's a good name. I couldn't think of a good last name to say, why not Vons, you know? So yeah, her last name is Vons. Ray, my mom's middle name is Ray. So her name, my main character is Bailey Ray Vons. I'm talking about Billy Ray Cyrus, but no, it's Bailey Ray Vons. And she's my MC, but we call her Bay for short. And I thought about Beyonce from Texas. So there's a connection with everything because names mean a lot. Olive James. Uh, Olive reminds me of the olive trees, biblical, and that's where his name come from because Aunt Ivy is very biblical, very spiritual. Um, so she named her son based on the olive tree, from the Bible. And Ivy James is a name that I fell in love with. It was something about that name that I love. And I know somebody named Ivy James, but I'm gonna have my disclaimer in there too. But Ivy James is just it just rings to me, I love that name. So her son is Olive James. Um, the Sheriff Vaughn's his name Raymond just popped into my head when I was writing it because I didn't have a name for him. I had no idea. First, I thought about Bernard, and I'm like, ew, no. But Raymond stuck with me, so his name is Raymond Vaughns. And the picture I have of David, what's his name, Keep David, is so perfect for him. Um, who else? Mr. Bud the Wiser. That was the reason why I picked his name. From the first draft, Libby was the cat name. Second draft is named Bud the Wiser. Uh, he liked my cousin in the first draft. I forgot who my cousin name was in the first draft. It wasn't Olive James. I forgot his name. I think he had so many names. I just wrote down cousin. And he was a beach bum in that first draft. So he will always drink Budweiser. And I think Budweiser because that was the first beer I ever drank when I was going through that stage of experimenting, drinking. So yeah, Budweiser was the first beer we drank, and it was so popular in Texas because we had the brewery right there off of I-10. It was so popular in Houston. So when the cousin would drink all the time, and sometimes he was a drunk, basically waste his beer, and Libby go drink it up. Libby loved her some of the cousin back then. So Bud the Wiser, Libby became Bud the Wiser, and I picked that name. I was like, okay, in relation to Budweiser and Bud the Wiser, Wiser, because he's a wise cat. He has this wizardly look. He has this extra sense. He can sense people. He lets Bay know whether they're good or bad, by how he interact with them and her. So I figured, oh, he's a wise old cat. So yeah, give him the name, Bud the Wiser. First it was THE, and I decided, nah, let me get a little ghetto in there and call him Bud the Wiser. So his name is Bud the Wiser. And so that's that. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to affirm in my head that this is my second draft and I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So now what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm just going to focus on my characters, even my secondary characters, create their pictures, work on the town, the things like what my town is known for. It's got to be a quaint little town. So I got to figure out exactly what this town is going to be known for and how it's going to drive uh, people into it, because right now we're not located on Google Maps. And Ain't Ivy and them like it that way, but the millennials want to be listed on the maps of Google, so they want to build population and give something for the younger people to, that will bring them into the town, to bring in more revenue, to keep the town alive. So that's what I'm working on. And that's really fun because to me, that's like world building too. Um, so I'm gonna work on that for the next couple of weeks. I'm also writing haiku book number 2. So I will probably be doing some time writing on Thursday. If you notice, the time for my stream has changed because I have a planner and I am trying to organize my time more efficiently, which is good. I would host the 30-day writing again for April and July Camp NaNoWriMo, also for November Camp NaNoWriMo. So yeah, that will stay. We will continue with the 30-day live streaming on during those occasions, but for time in between, I will host my live streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting at 5 a.m. So, yeah, we dedicated to the early morning writers because I write best in my early morning. I like to get that done. I hadn't put an ending time to it. I was doing an hour. An hour is fine. Like today, I'm talking. So, an hour of talking is sufficient, you know. But when I'm writing, if more people come and join us on our live stream, I will extend that from 5 to 6 or 5 to 7. And since everyone on different time zone, it will be okay. And if I'm really heavily writing into a project, that extra hour will be perfect. So yeah, a new times for Write With Me Live is on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 5 a.m. Also, so I'll be working on my haiku book. I love haiku. I love writing haiku. It puts me in a different zone. It's like my daily gratitude. It allows me to be aware of the things we tend to take for granted. So I'm writing the second haiku and book, and it's more of a I'm not sure what the title. I have a working title, um, and it's like an everyday gratitude of haikus, something like that. So I'm still working on that, and I will be working on that during our live stream because I would like to get that out probably by the 1st of October. And let's see what else I'm working on. I will. Oh, don't let me forget. So I have a featured YouTube channel that you can look on my channel, and it's WWJ conference. We have a WWJ conference for writers coming up August the 22nd from 8:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock. We have a lot of guest speakers. I am going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. I will be moderating for two of the speakers. So Thursday, I will share more information about that and send you to a link where you can sign up. It will be on YouTube. So the two people I'm hosting will be on my channels. Also, they will be on WWJ's channel. So look at my featured channel, click it, subscribe to it, follow the playlist. We have morning, afternoon, and evenings events. We have HarperCollins publishers going to be there, author, editors, an agent, other writers, book brush. Oh my gosh, we have such a whole program planned for you all, and it's free. Yes, it's free. It's August the 22nd. So I'm going to really be promoting that a lot on my channel and on my social media so you can join us over there and grab all those golden nuggets to help you with your writing journey and your writing career. So that's the biggest thing that's going on to me. That is going to be so exciting. I can't wait. So I'm going to have a ticker going across my stream Thursday, and I'll be promoting it. So I hope to see you there. Just until then, just click on that featured channel on my channel, which is WWJ Conference, and subscribe and sign up because all the information is there. Or you can look at my playlist because I already have them scheduled. Oh, what else is coming up? Oh, I am doing an interview with a content creator. My daughter, Glitch City. If you just type in Glitch City, she's a content creator. She's specialized in music. She also do a lot of promos with Pokemon and different organizations. I don't remember the name, but shame on me. She also does a lot of stuff with Black YouTube. They always calling her up, flying her out to wherever they at. She get all these goodies. that's what I'm really interested in. It's all the goodies she get because I was like, give me something, give me something, give me something. I'm like a kid with her hand out begging. So yeah, she's really pretty well known within the YouTube community with content creators and gaming. She's a big time gamer. She also makes a lot of mixes if you like lo-fi music, gaming music, Pokemon music. What that's her main thing is Pokemon music. But yeah. Hey baby, y'all, this is my hubby. Welcome, baby. That's my hubby. Anyway, check that out. What else is coming up? Oh, and I told you I'm doing an interview on the 18th with Jen Lowry with her story, Sweet Potato Jones, which will be released for you. I'm an ARC reader. Hoo. Um, August the 18th. Okay, so that's coming up. Now for September, I will be hosting a live Write With Me celebrating Agatha Christie's birthday on September the 15th, hosted by Sarah Wheaton or Welton. I get the names all screwed up, but I will share more information about that too. It's a UK event, so it will still be the same time we stream here normally at 5 a.m. in the United States, but it would be 10 a.m. in the UK time. So we're going to have a writing session and share some FYI, little known facts about Agatha Christie. I'm thinking about dressing up as maybe one of her characters. Not sure. Maybe Jane Marple. Can you imagine me a Jane Marple? I don't know, but that should be interesting. So be sure to join me with that, and I will have more information with that. Now, I updated my website and my blog, so be sure to check out tishbouvier.com. Go down to the bottom, sign up for my newsletter so you can get all the latest update first before anyone else, or check out my blog and there will be a pop-up and sign up for my newsletter. And yeah, so that's about it. Today was a bunch of talk of what's going on. It was about my story and all that other good stuff. So we're gonna wrap it up, but Thursday we're gonna have some writing sprints, a couple of writing sprints, encouragement to keep you pushing words forward through the month of August and share your writing goal. Until then, I want to wish you a wonderful day. Be safe, stay happy, keep smiling, and happy writing.